G'day guys, Ben from Nikon. In this video, we're here to talk about the D500's little brother, the Nikon D7500. So the D7500 is a 20.9 megapixel camera. Now it is running an Expeed 5 processor. As we've said before, it is the little brother to the D500. It has a really high ISO range of 100 to 51,200. It has a new tilt screen 3.2 inch LCD. It is also a touch screen. It's what we would put as a mid-range DSLR. So in the Nikon lineup, it sits firmly between the D7200 and the D500. So this is an enthusiast level DSLR. Some of the things that make it an enthusiast level DSLR is the fact that it runs dual control dials. It has a top LCD screen up the top. It runs a 51-point autofocus system, 8 frames a second, as well as doing 4K video. Not only does it have 4K video, but it also has 4K UHD time-lapse mode, as well as SnapBridge. Now, it is an interchangeable lens DSLR, then that means there's over 80 Nikon lenses in the lineup that fit on this camera. And just a side note, there's been over 100 million Nikon lenses made to date. So let's get into the key features of the Nikon D7500. Let's start off with the top of the D7500. Now, when we come in and have a look, you'll notice that you've got a nice big LCD screen on the top. And when we have a look at that, you can see that we've got information like aperture, shutter speed, we've got ISO, as well as how many frames are left on the card. We've got a shutter button down the front. We've also got a movie record button here. And one thing that's changed from previous models is the ISO control is now located on the top at a really easy to get to part. As we move across the top of the camera, we've got our hot shoe here, and then over on the other side of the camera, we've got our main control dial. One of the key points of this is it actually has a locking mechanism to stop you bumping settings accidentally. So if I try and turn that now, I can't. If I press that button in and turn it, you can see now that I can actually turn that dial. Really good feature. So next up is the rear of the D7500. What I want to show you is a few key features on the back. You'll find when you look down the side here, things like in your playback mode, you've got your zoom in and zoom out, you've got your menu, you've got your playback, and then on this side here, you've got your live view control for movie and for stills, as well as autofocus and auto exposure lock up here, and your main command dial here. All easy to use features on the back of the camera. So all the release modes for the camera are actually located up on the top left-hand side of the camera up here. And yet again, it's got a locking feature on so you can't bump settings. Press the button down, and then I can move that around to continuous high, continuous low, quiet mode, self-timer, as well as mirror up. So let's run through the rear LCD on the D7500. Now the first thing you'll notice when you look at that, it is actually a tilting LCD, which is new for this generation of camera. And when we have a look, you can see that there's lots of very useful information there. You can see that clearly we've got aperture, we've got shutter speed, we can see ISO, we can see what focus settings we've got, what metering settings are there. All of that information is really easily laid out on that nice big 3.2 inch LCD. So moving from the rear LCD, let's have a look at the menu on the D7500. Now the menu button's located on the side. When we press the menu button down, you'll see that the menu's divided up yet again, very similar like all Nikon DSLRs, into a few different key sections. Let's start at the top with the playback section of the menu. Anything to do with playing back an image is located in here. I scroll down, the next section is the photo shooting menu. So things like file naming, image size, anything to do with that is located in this menu here. The next section, we have a menu just for video settings. The next setting from that is my custom setup menu. So this is where I can program the camera to behave exactly the way I want it to behave. The next setting below that is all of my setup menu. So this is where I can format the card, set date and time, all of those things where I'm actually programming the camera to behave the way I want it to behave. And then below that, I have my retouch menu. And then below that, I have my menu where I can customize the camera's menu to be exactly the way I want it to be. So moving on to playback controls. Now what I also want to show you at the same time is the live view shooting mode. So with live view, let's press the live view button located on the back of the camera. Let's go into live view shooting. So let's shoot an image here. Let's focus on it just there like that. We've taken an image, and to play that image back, I press the playback button up the top, go into playback, and I can zoom in and out just like that. Now what I can also do, because it's a touchscreen camera, I can also move the image around like this, as well as click to zoom in and out. Coming in nice and close on that top control dial, let's have a bit of a look at what's actually in there. So we have our normal settings like aperture priority, shutter priority, and manual, and we can just move that dial around to those different settings there. But what we also have, we have our effects controls here, as well as we have user 1 and user 2. So I can program the camera to behave exactly the way I want it to behave in my own custom settings in user 1 and user 2. And interesting to note, in this level of camera, I've still got things like scene programs, which are really cool. So let's come back around to aperture and shutter priority. Let's move the dial around and let's have a look at the back LCD, what happens when I go into those modes. My front command dial controls aperture. So when I put the camera into manual, what you'll see is that when I move the back command dial, you'll see that the shutter speed changes. When I move the front command dial, you can see my aperture changing. So we've had a look at the top controls. So what we're going to do is we're going to come back to the effects mode, which was located on that top command dial. When I put it into the effects mode, I can then use my rear command dial and I can flick through the different effects. So what I've got things like toy camera effect, I've got miniature effect, I've got selective color, I've got silhouette. Now these can be used in both stills and in video, and they come up in live view as you're shooting. So the D7500 does come with SnapBridge. Now SnapBridge, as I said before, is a low power constant Bluetooth connection. One of the other things that comes with Nikon SnapBridge is a thing called Nikon Image Space. Now that is unlimited cloud storage of all your images that you've taken. As soon as your smart device connects to the internet, it'll automatically, if you choose, upload those images at 2.1 megapixel to the cloud, and you get unlimited storage with Nikon Image Space. So what I've done is I've set my camera up now in a live view shooting. Now, as I've said before, the camera is a touchscreen camera, so it does have touch to shoot. So I can just touch that button there and take a photograph. And what will happen is within a few seconds, that Bluetooth technology will automatically transfer the image straight across to the iPad. And I'll be able to click on the gallery button and bring the image straight up. Changing lenses on the D7500 is very simple. Pressing that button on the side of the camera, click, and then turn the lens. We can pull it apart. And putting it back together is simply matching the white dot with the white dot. Click, and then turn. So my three key picks for the D7500 is the new 10-20 AFP lens, the new 16-80. Now the new 16-80 is a 2.8-4, very nice bit of glass, as well as nano crystal coating, and the new also 70-300. All three lenses that go very nicely with your D7500. So overall, the D7500, now it's positioned between the D500 and the D7200. It is the little brother to the D500. It's a 20.9 megapixel DX camera. It's a Speed 5 processor, 3.2 inch screen, 51 point autofocus, 8 frames a second, a very high ISO range. It's running SnapBridge, fantastic enthusiast level camera. So guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to our My Nikon Life YouTube channel and please check out all of our other Nikon videos.